Hey, what's going on, guys? BT Gaming here, and I wanted to take a moment to share my thoughts about the recent behind the scenes we got in Genshin Impact in regards to Krai. Krai is the new and upcoming region that we're going to be entering into in Genshin Impact as we're exiting out of Natlan into kind of the late game here. And it's looking like it's going to be very, very incredible in regards to different factions converging and everything like that. But I really enjoyed them taking the time to give us this behind the scenes look and really share some, I think, raw things that they've experienced as a team in regards to Genshin Impact, the state of the game, acknowledging what players have been feeling, I believe. And so I just want to take a moment to delve into that, share my thoughts, and even share my thoughts about the future and what this could mean for Genshin Impact. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop in here. I apologize. I am going to be probably pausing throughout this, so bear with me here. If you see me pausing a lot, that is why, because again, I'm just kind of sharing these moments that stood out to me. But here we go.
编织一张巨大的画布。起初，我们从2个方向去开始编织，一个叫做诸国的冒险，另一个叫做追寻血亲。然后就过了好几年的时间，这个画布呢也就逐渐有了大致的框架了。这个时候我们回头去看的话，发现不对呀，这个画布它留的线头太多了。然而这些线头里面其实包含了非常多的信息。提瓦特大量的人物事都是通过这些细碎的线索串联在一起的，但是我们的节奏呢，太快了，太粗。
All right, so I want to take a moment to stop here. So they talk about the story of Genshin Impact and kind of like the conception, the conceptual idea of Tevat in the story, and the fact that there are a lot of places, right, that we have not gotten answers. If you think about Genshin Impact and the game, I've played since the third closed beta, and so I've been like a faithful Genshin Impact enjoyer. But there is a lot. You start off the game pretty much separated from your sibling, and it starts off as you're trying to find your sibling, then you're in this world of Tevat, and you're kind of interacting with the world and the world's issues and resolving issues, and it's all culminating to hopefully finding your sibling, but ultimately the truth about this world as well. And so there is a lot to tie in with, I mean, the different archons we're meeting, there's different factions, there's different, just a lot of different people that are connected for a plethora of reasons that we do not have the full picture of yet. But I do find it interesting that they make the admission that our pace was too fast and we rushed it. And it's interesting because Mondstadt's the first region we start in, and there is a lot of question marks that I still have. One being Venti, but there seems to be more than meets the eye to Venti. We don't have his second story quest, even though in most cases, most characters we see in the game that are, prior, we do have two story quests. So, interesting that that's kind of been withheld. As you know, Jean is the acting grandmaster. There's this actual grandmaster, Varco, who has been noised about. We've actually never heard a voice, seen what he looks like, as far as I can tell. So, that's also kind of a question mark. Kaya, with ties to Conria, that's a big question mark. There's just in Mondstadt alone, there's a lot of big question marks for me. And so, then you take that over every region we've been to, and there's a lot of question marks, a lot of things that I think they wanted to get us to the next region. Usually it would be like, 1 year we go through a region, the update, and kind of that was the formula that they stuck to. So it's interesting that they make that a mission here in this moment.
匆忙了，很多有意思的点并没有完全充分的展示给我们的旅行者。那同时，这其实也是一个很普遍的创作误区。创作者有的时候会忘记自己和玩家的信息量其实是不对等的。那一旦在不知不觉间忽视了玩家的视角，忘记了玩家所看到的内容，其实
if you forget the player's perspective, and so that's really cool that they mentioned that they are it sounds like taking a look at probably more of a conscious look at the perspective of players and trying to tell the story and provide content that is going to be more reflective of the player's experience, right? And so again, I think it's really cool that that admission is being made that like, yeah, we can't neglect the players. And so feedback that we give as players, I think is really going to be more valuable. Not that it didn't hold the weight that it does now. I think because they're starting to realize that there are certain things that the player base is looking to see. And so I would be hopeful that we are going to be maybe seeing more surveys or different things in the future that is going to be really focused and centered on really pulling feedback out of us, and they're going to actually listen. I think that's just a really cool thing that they even said here.
实是不完整的话，有时候就会让玩家错过其实非常有价值的内容，甚至会产生误解。所以在今年，我们想把这些线头串起来，用一种比较流畅自然的方式，把那些就好像闪光的星星重新摆到这个画布它原有的位置上面。这个就是下一年我们想要在诺德卡莱去做的事情。
Really cool that they even give us the, I guess, the reasoning behind not Cryo, just to kind of pull in a lot of loose ends. Because again, like you said, there's a lot of loose ends that we've seen in regards to the story of Tibet. And I love the storytelling of Genshin. Like, I'm a big fan of the storytelling in Genshin Impact. But yeah, you do have to admit that there are some things that we are, we do want as players. And so again, really cool that they are making this submission here and letting us know from the jump, like, Nod Cry is going to be a convergence of just a lot of things. They've released the teasers. We've seen those on social media with the different factions. They're going to be there. There's 12. That's huge to have those different factions in one region, because again, this has never been done before. Usually we go to Genshin Impact and we deal with like a nation's issues, but in Not Cry, right? I don't know if there's an Archon. I don't, it doesn't seem like it, because the Snezhnaya should be the last region, but we're kind of taking this journey to Nod Cry. So what is going to be the main goal? And it seems like to tie in a lot of loose ends. So I'm thinking we're going to be interacting with all of these factions here in some meaningful way to hopefully tell the story and help us understand the story a bit better.
我们想把来自提瓦特各个角落的信息去整合起来。那最重要的前提它得有一个理想的区域。那这个区域呢，它可以顺理成章的让提瓦特的各个势力聚集在一起，为了一个共同的目标去演绎一段故事。说的通俗一点，就是它得是一个先天要素集合圣体。有些旅行者可能看过 DC 漫画，那在 DC 宇宙里呢，这个地方就是哥谭市。那在 Falcom 公司的轨迹系列里面呢，这个地方就是克罗斯贝尔自治州。那在其他的游戏里也有很多这样的案例，比如说有夜之城啊、祖安啊、朝都啊、崔斯特姆啊、多兰古雷格呀，对吧？那这些旅行者们比较熟知的概念它到了原神当中。那这次我们给它的名字就叫做罗德卡莱。
I just wanted to pause on the screen here because I thought the screen is cool. But no, he also makes another really cool mention to DC Universe, and again, a lot of these we see like comic book universe and superhero universes do this really well of tying in so many different characters, and so it's cool that they are taking even that viewpoint and wanting to hopefully draw inspiration from that type of storytelling. I think that's going to be really cool to see that played out in Genshin Impact. And also, again, I love the screenshot. It's a really cool screen. I had to pause here in this mode, because if this is what Nogcry looks like, woof, this is gonna be amazing.
那在这样一种构想下，那罗德卡莱的势力自然就是比较错综复杂的。与其继续像之前几个版本一样，我们用国家这个地理强相关的概念，那不如去依赖各个势力的这个共同目标来定义这一年的内容。
Oh, so they do answer that actually. So instead of relying again, like they said in the nations, it's going to be faction oriented. So, man, that's going to be really cool to see how that shapes out in the content for the coming year, right? Because Nogcry is going to be that big next jump from that one, it sounds like. But yeah, again, there's just so much in here. There's a couple other points I do want to take a look at here, and I know this is getting kind of long, but I do want to jump forward because there's a moment where they talk about. Again, this is probably some of the designs here if you guys are wanting to see that, some of the concept art. Again, watch this. It's going to be amazing. These are just some things that stood out to me, but I'm going to kind of fast forward a bit here because there's a moment where they make this admission where they're talking with other game companies. And I believe it was, let's see if I can find it here. If I remember, I should have noted. Yeah, yes, my timestamps. Okay. So they made this admission here. Changes. Okay, let's go back. Just a formality. Oh, wait, yeah. Force yourself to make changes. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're starting here. It's not easy to make something evolve. This is really interesting to make the statement. All right, so let's go with this.
很容易的事，就是你一个人、一个组织、一个产品，你想进化，你需要不断的去对自己发问。你要逼着自己去做出一些改变，比如去年我记得
You need to keep asking yourself questions and force us to make like that is so dynamic that they're saying this because if you've I don't know for my streaming community that I stream to, we've talked about this and this is how I feel about Genshin. They when they first released, they were like they set such a high standard because there was nothing like Genshin Impact like in the gaming industry. This was new. And I think what happened is they got comfortable in where they were, being where they were. I don't think I saw where they had that like creative spark to really be flexible and to pivot in the industry. And so it's really, really cool to see them make that admission here that they need to get to that place where they are pivoting and being welcoming to change. So really cool. And a side note, I believe this is one thing that Woo of Wuthering Waves and Kuro Games has done really well is they have pivoted and have made themselves such a great game. And I've really enjoyed playing them. I'm not to, compare apples and things like that, but they've shown that they are so willing to pivot and to change and to adjust and kind of respond to the player base as well. So it's really cool that Genshin is making this admission here. And I think with Genshin making this realization, we could be in for some amazing, amazing content. But again, just going to go a little bit further here because some other cool things are mentioned.
2024年的时候，大伟哥有说过一句话，叫做“原神除了对旅行者的陪伴以外，一切皆可改变”。那可能当时大家会觉得这是一句客套话，但其实对我们来说，就是你要去做出一些改变，不是一个随口说说的这种口号。我举个例子啊，可能没跟大家聊过这个事情，就是去年年底的时候，我们跟着公司的代表团，去日本东京参加了索尼的一个30周年的庆祝晚会。那在那一晚呢，我们其实是跟很多业界的前辈交流过。那比如说，From Software 公司的社长宫崎英高先生，还有史克威尔艾尼克斯最终幻想7重制版3部曲的制作人滨口直树先生，还有当年在最困难的时候支持过我们的吉田修平先生，等等等等，我们见过很多很多的前辈。
He makes this admission here when we were at our lowest, and it makes me think that maybe the team realized that there was something lacking, right? In the community and the way the communities feel about the game. And because rightfully so, I think within the last like year or so, there has just been a lot of turmoil, I would say, in the Genshin community as a whole about content creators. I think even amongst like people's enjoyment of the game, right? I think they've definitely noticed that there has been probably a considerable, I don't want to say fall off, but there's definitely been probably like a loss of spark for people when they're playing the game. And so the fact again that they realized, they acknowledge it like they were at a low point and they went to this and were drawing inspiration, it really makes me hopeful for the direction that Genshin Impact is looking to go. And the level that I think they're going to take the game to is going to be, I think it's going to blow our minds as players. I think it's going to exceed our expectations of what we thought that they could do. And it makes me excited for the future of the game. I think Krai, honestly, is going to be the starting point. Honest to goodness, I think Krai is going to be the starting point of some really amazing things that we're going to see as players in Genshin Impact. And man, I'm just excited for the future, excited for what we are going to get to experience and what the team is going to get to create as well. And so, again, I would encourage you guys to watch the entirety of this. I just kind of stood out, grabbed a hold of the points where it gives me hope because they, as a company, are recognizing some things, some deficiencies that they're saying, okay, this is a problem, let's correct that. And I believe when a company sees that they have deficiencies and they're not just going to hide them and they're going to face them and try to, correct the deficiencies, then I believe it is a recipe for something great to come out of that. And so, again, Hoyo, I am so very thankful that you guys gave us this behind the scenes look, a very honest sit down conversation, and I'm excited. And so I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. What were some things that stood out to you in regards to this behind the scenes that we got in regards to Krai, but also in regards to your thoughts for the future of Genshin Impact as well, right? Because to me, this is taking my mind that there's going to be great future things from Krai and beyond. So I don't know. I'm excited. Genshin Impact still to this day remains as one of my favorite games, and I'm just excited to see it reach its peak potential as it's again one of the most enjoyable games I've had the pleasure of playing and streaming and all of the above. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to like or subscribe here. And I also stream live on Twitch and YouTube, so you guys can catch me here or there, either or, and I'll be happy to interact with you guys and kind of enjoy the Genshin Impact content and other content as well. And thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.